Awesome. So it is Wednesday, March 4th at 5:30, the early show. Today we're going to be doing a full race night with WISSOTA style, backgate entry, creating lineups, connecting MRP live, doing results, points and payout, managing rainouts and cancellations, and printing checks. I might do that in a little bit of a different order, but that's what we're going to be doing. If you do have any questions as we go through everything, Alt and H will bring up the chat window. You can feel free to chat in, ask any questions that you may have. Here, always happy to answer any questions. If I don't answer a question right away, that doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. Just going to be kind of moving with everything, and I'll get back and answer every question that you have when we reach the end of the presentation. And there's also a spot to ask just me directly a question in case you don't want anyone else to see. But don't be afraid. If you have a question, odds are someone else out there has a question too. So about that same thing. So all that out of the way, let's get started. So I'm going to kind of flip the script, do the managing rainouts and cancellations part first here. Then we're going to dive into doing the full race night. So we will go into our season management. And let's say, you know, the weather today, actually pretty good for March in Nebraska. But you know what, Friday just isn't looking so good. Probably not going to run the event. So we might want to rain it out. So what would we do in that instance? Well, we'll go to our schedule here. We'll find our event. So looks like Friday, we're just going to rain out. And to do that, we'll go to event status right here. And it'll have some information for us. We'll say that it is a rainout. I can put in a message. So this is going to be a little different. But I can put in this message here. And it's going to send a push notification. So I'm going to type in Friday notification to make sure that I am really serious here. So what's going to happen when I do this, it is going to send a notification that I have rained out for that date to everyone that is a favorite for my track in MyRacePass. So everyone that has favorited my track will get that notification. So we can send them that message there that is canceled due to bad weather. We'll confirm it. It's going to send that out. There's going to be some rules attached to this. So it won't send to every single event. It'll do that if it's within 7 days of the event and the event's going to happen in the future. So if you rain out an event that's already happened, we're not going to notify everybody because, well, unless they're a time traveler, they're not going to be there. So you have that notification there, and it's canceled due to bad weather. It is going to be sent out as it's going to be sent out there. So the question, if it's sent out as an email or a text, it's actually sent out as a push notification. So on your cell phone, it will actually be sent out as a notification from MyRacePass if they have favorited the track. So if you go into the app and have favorited, in this case, your favorite track, it'll send it as a push notification, and it does that about 10 minutes afterwards, just in case you have some leeway there, so you can undo what you did there. But within 10 minutes, if it's within those criteria, it'll send a push notification at the top. You might get those for other apps. If you need an example, so for mine, I have a Fitbit, and so my Fitbit will bug me that I need to get up and exercise more. So it'll do something similar to that without telling them that they need to exercise. But let's say, you know, that's not enough. It actually, let's just keep harping on this this event right here. We actually just need to out and out reschedule the event. I put in the wrong date. It just doesn't need to happen. So I'm going to unrain out this event. So we're just going to put it, goes as scheduled. Here, it'll update there. So it's running as scheduled. Everything's good. But I just want to remove it from my schedule. I don't need it anymore. So we can remove it from the schedule here. It's gone. No one will see it. We can also copy it. So if I want to move it to, let's move it to the Wednesday the 11th. We'll copy that event over, and I'll copy how that event's set up. It'll be in the schedule there. There's our 11th event. So if you need to reschedule an event, you can copy it and then remove the old event from the schedule if you need to do it that way. So that's it's going to be a little bit different. There's still that managing aspect of it from before, but now we have that push notification. So you're really going to want to let your fans know to follow your track on the app. So again, to copy that, it's right down here at the bottom. When I clicked on the event, it has the copy right down there. It's going to copy all the classes right down at the bottom. We can also get into race management from there. But again, the big takeaway is to let your fans know to favorite your track inside of the app, because they won't receive that unless they are favorited. So when I copy an event to a different date, does it remove it from the original date? It does not. You can use the copy in a lot of different ways. I just use the copy to basically just do it quickly for me, but it doesn't remove it from the old date, because you could still want it. You could still copy from one to another. So it never will remove from the schedule. You'll have to do that down at the bottom right here. All right, let's take a look at the race management. A lot of great questions coming in. Again, if you do have any questions, Alt and H, the place to do that, be answering those questions for you there. So let's take a look here. I'm going to take a look at my MRP late model class here. So we're going to do a couple different things to take a look at it. So it's going to, one, have what we're going to do about pill draw and what we're going to do about transponders here in the setup. So by default, I'm going to have it just draw for the driver. So it'll draw for me. I don't have to do anything. I can set this number as high or as low as I want. If you want to set it to 500 and mess with your drivers, you sure can. This number right here is the rebase. So what that's going to do is it's going to set a new low number for that pill. So if I set that to 50, 50 would be the best number you could draw. 49 would be the worst number you could draw. I have other options here, so we could do no pill draw. We could have the system where they hit the button. They could do that before I select a driver or after I select a driver, or I could just put in a number myself if I want to. And this will work for every single class that we have in the system. So each class can have its own. So if my Sport Compact class was using passing points or 3-week point average where they didn't actually have to draw, they could, and other classes would draw. So you can set it up however you want it. Or if some classes run transponders and other classes don't, we could set it up that way too. However you need to do that, you do have that option there. We'll just go right along here into MRP Live. I already had that connected from earlier today. So you can see that here. I'm going to get rid of it and we'll start it right back up here. We're going to use orbits today to go through everything. So I'm going to launch from web. I have orbits connected, but I'll show you how I got everything connected up and ready to go here. So we'll disconnect. I'm going to remove some of my past events here. We'll go into our scoreboard settings. We're going to make sure that our scoreboard feed is enabled. If we don't have the scoreboard feed enabled, it will have a well, it won't actually pick up. So the scoreboard feed is what you'll need. If it doesn't find anything, make sure this is connected here. I copied this IP address and I put that into here. So it'll ask for an IP address. I copied from Orbitz and put it into MyRacePass. Same with this TCP IP port. Generally, it is going to be 50,000, but it could be different. But most of the time it is. We're selecting what system we're using, so we're using Orbitz. And then we also have an assignments path. Inside of my desktop, you can put this anywhere you'd like, but I have a folder here where I put all of my files that I'm going to be using. And I have one for just today that we're going to be sending those over with. So when we connect it, and it sends the lineup, it's going to send it to that folder there. We also have the MRP live code. That's what's going to be connecting it to today's race. So when we hit launch from web, it's going to pull that over. We can also copy this whole code over and paste it into here. But you do need to have an MRP live code in this spot. Once all of these are set, this one connecting to the computer, this one sending the lineups, and this one connecting to the date, we can hit connect, and we're good to go. Most of the times, if you see an error message, just make sure you reconnect it, or make sure that you double check the IP address to make sure that that is accurate. You're going to make sure that it's the one from Orbitz. Make sure you have the scoreboard feed enabled, and make sure you have the right code to the right date. We will get back to Orbitz in just a second. I'm actually going to go into my entries here, and we're going to get started adding in our drivers for today. So we have this filter box here. Recommend using that, but what you can do, you can filter by first name, last name, or car number. So you can see I have Hank Ham here. And we're going to see a few things about Hank. So we can see his age. He has claimed his profile inside of the system. We don't have his address on file. Looks like he hasn't completed online registration for us. We have his car number in as the 74. The system drew a number for Hank as the number 40. We can put an owner in here. So when we click on this, we can see that he has had an owner before. We can see all of our owners that we've had in the past. We can see every single owner that's in the system. But let's add a new one. And we'll put in a team name here. And we'll put in, I don't know, I just get a good feeling that Ronald McDonald would be someone that would be involved with this team. Don't ask me why. And we'll put in our car number here. Just make sure that it'll put in the type of racing here. Just make sure you have that right type of racing. We'll add him in. So you can see that Ron owns that car. From here, we can choose whether the payout goes to the owner, which it does. And if this is going to be something that happens every day, or well, every race night, do that here and set as a default. We also can click this. We can see all the transponder numbers that Hank has used before, and we can enter in one. So looks like today, though, he's going to be using the 1010. We can mark if the transponder was rented, or we can set it as a default transponder. The lineup override is next. That's going to be the spot. So let's say Hank is a rookie, seems awful young to be driving a 410 wing sprint car. We could start him at the back of the heat or the back of all races. So if he didn't want to start up there, or we just didn't like him, we could start him at the back. So that's what I'm going to do. He just seems like a real shady character. So we could keep adding in drivers this way, finding the car numbers in here. This one has an address on file. and he's real unlucky, and adding them in. But there's other ways that we can add in cars as well. One of those ways is to use the search up at the top. So let's say we take a look for a specific driver. He's not here. We could find him up at the top here. Bruce Wayne, Gotham, Hawaii. He's in the system, so we could find him here. Let's say we have another one. Clark Kent, Metropolis, Kansas, not in the system. So we could create Clark if we wanted to. Some things that I'll warn about creating drivers here. Try to make sure that you are searching last name first. So you want to make sure that you are looking for that, and also name variations. So you could have a Henry Ham and a Hank Ham. They could be the same person. So make sure you're kind of double checking for that. So you're going to make sure you have that right name there. And then also, when it asks for a hometown, make sure you're putting in a hometown there. We're going to use that to verify against duplication. So we're going to be looking for that to make sure we have the right person there so we're not duplicating people. Duplicate drivers aren't the end of the world. We certainly can fix them, but they can throw things off. So depending on the lineup you're using, if you use a duplicate driver, it can treat them as though they are a completely brand new person. So they won't have anything like a point average. It won't keep track of anything from the past. So it throws off lineups. It throws off championship points. It can confuse drivers and make them pretty upset. We want to avoid it if at all possible. And a great way to avoid that is to use the scan barcode up here at the top. So you notice that all of these drivers here have this gold helmet. That means they have claimed their profile inside of MyRacePass. It's free for them to do, and when they do that, they can go into the MyRacePass app and find the spot there for the hard card, and you'll actually be able to see. They'll actually be able to have that barcode there that you can scan. WISSOTA tracks, every single WISSOTA and USRA driver that is licensed for you will also have a card that they can, an actual physical card that you can scan. We do have scanners that we recommend. I highly recommend using them. It goes quite a bit quicker to scan a driver. A driver can only have one card per profile, so that helps out. It goes really quick. To do it that way, help prevent duplication. I cannot more highly recommend scanning in drivers using the hard cards. Something there too that on that same subject here, inside the confirm membership, it'll also tell us if the driver has completed our online registration and if it is a WISSOTA or USRA sanctioned event, it will show if they have a license for that class or not. A driver can only have one profile per card with a D. So Barry Bratwurst here, if he has a card, if Barry has a card here, he can race every single class that I'm running and use the same card. You just keep scanning him in with that same card. So something that we'll be rolling out here in the near future as well that I'm pretty excited about is that now the search bar will also display drivers that are in your driver list first. So here very, very soon, when you type in Buffalo, it's going to show BJ Buffalo Esquire here first, as opposed to everybody that has the name Buffalo. So that should help out quite a bit. Awesome. So we got our drivers here. We're going to keep checking them in. Other ways that we can do that is to import from a previous race. So let's say I was doing a 2-day show. It was Friday into Saturday, and I knew a lot of the same folks would be attending. I could pull in all of these same drivers, pull in the pill numbers or transponder numbers, either or. I'm just going to do the transponders here. And all of them are going to be moved in here. And I'm just going to have them redraw so you can take a look at what it would look like for the draw. So if the driver wanted to hit the button to stop it, they can. There we go. There's that spec luck. And we can do it that way. The last thing that we have to enter in drivers is that speed entry button down at the bottom here. So when you click that speed entry button, as long as you do not have a duplicate car number or a duplicate default transponder number, when you click it, it's just going to check that driver in over here. You see I have the duplicate transponder number here. I checked in. So I'm going to take some time here to enter in the full numbers for all of my drivers. But if you have any questions about anything, Alt and H, the place to do that. I do have some questions, do have some conversation coming in here. So don't be afraid. If I don't answer you immediately, I will get back to you, I promise. Here when we get to the time for questions. Also, you have that rented box right here, so you can check that. You also have the pay owner box, so you can check that right there. So you see I have quite a few owners that are getting paid today as well. Going to cap it at 10 due to the transponder system only letting me have 10, but we can do more than that if we need to. We're going to move right along into the races tab. So everything's going to flow kind of downwards like this. But we can see our previous races. So this is everything that we've done in the past. So if I wanted to copy what I did on the 25th, I could do that. I could copy that over that exact setup with the names and everything. So if you know every single time that this class races with 10 drivers, you're going to do exactly this. You can click that, copy it over. It'll pull everything over for you. But let's just do it manually today. So I'm going to do one heat and one A feature since I only have 10 drivers. Let's just do 5 laps for our heat. I'll do 25 for the feature. Top 3 go to tech on our A feature. We could do more than that if we wanted to, so we could make features all the way down to a Z feature. We could do heats, dashes, qualifying specials, hot laps. All of those races can be created for you. And so when we do that, we're going to add those in. And then our next step here, we can take a look at the names of the races, add in sponsors, things like that. More information, the more the better, I say. But the main thing that we absolutely have to do is set up our transfers to the A feature. Now with me, I only have 10 drivers today, so that's going to be real straightforward. We're going to send everybody to the A feature. But we could send very specific numbers of people. So since we're doing WISSOTA, it's going to be that per race. So it's going to take each driver or a set amount of drivers out of each race, for example. If we were to do 4 to the A feature per race, we're going to have 8, 4 and 4. We also can line up our drivers 1, 2, or 3 per row. So you have a lot of options there. We can also add more races. So if 35 more drivers came in late, we could add in a B feature and more heats down here if we needed to. And then we'll tell all 35 of them to show up earlier next time. Let's move down to our lineups. So we definitely could just enter in our drivers this way, just click how we want them to go and move them around, things like that. But a faster way to do that would be to calculate lineups right here. So we're going to calculate lineups. What I've done is here in the settings, in lineup settings, I have taken the lineups that I'm more likely to use throughout the year and added those in. So I have, A features, B features, all the different race types. You see this is every single lineup that we have. This is way more than anyone would need. So you can kind of have a cheat sheet here of all the ones that you're going to use throughout the year. So I'm going to use the WISSOTA heat right here, and we're going to calculate that out. And it's going to do that for me. You can see that we have our driver right here that we sent to the back. And then we can click how is this calculated, and it's going to tell me, right here why it lined up the drivers that way, including this little asterisk for Hank Ham being right there, since we just didn't like him and we moved him to the back. From here, we can share this to our Facebook and Twitter pages. It's also automatically updated on the MyRacePass app. So your fans on the app can see the lineups for those heats already created as soon as we did them. It's also going to update the results and the points for us, and all of that is for free on the app. The timing that we're going to be doing is $7.99. If a fan wants to view that, that'll view every single track that's using that timing there for the year, and I'll show you what that looks like. We'll do that just now. So we're going to click up here to MRP Live. We're going to send our lineups. So lineups are sent. We can import them here. So inside the file that we set up for today, we can go to the runs file, and we're going to import the runs, and every race that's in the lineup mode, we'll send that over. Right now I only have the one race, so it just sent one, but if I had all of my classes with multiple heats, it would send everything all at once for us there. We're going to also open this track simulator. This is not something you'll need to do. This is just kind of for my benefit here, since I need to run all the all the cars need to go across the track here. So we'll go into our timing. We'll just start it. It's a very slow start as we get all the cars across. Okay, there we go. So as these cars are going to go around the track here, it's going to be updating here. This is a screen I use if I'm using the transponder system to show me that it's connected and everything's working fine here. So you can see all of the drivers as they're going around the track. We can see them. It's updating the laps and the times here. If there's a specific driver like Hank Ham, he is flying. We could see that right here. We can pin that. We're also able to do things like sort by the best lap or how many positions are gained. If we were wanting to know that, fans are able to do that as well. So I put in that there's going to be 5 laps, so it's going to auto finish for me here once they go around one last time. So let's let it do that. All right. So it is done. Let me stop these guys here. All right. Now that we have that race done, as soon as we hit the stop button right here, as soon as we say we want to stop the timing, and we do that, as soon as we go down to results, we'll have this pending race. So that stop button is the queue. It's what it's waiting for. So we'll hit this right here, and we have our results. From here, we can put if they didn't finish, didn't start, disqualified, black flagged, and we're not going to be using passing points, so we don't need to worry about this, but we have a no passing points option here. We can share this to our Facebook and Twitter page, and as soon as we save it as completed right down here, it's going to update a lot of different places. So it will update in the MyRacePass app for us, so fans sitting in the stands can see that. It will update if you have a website through MyRacePass, it'll update there. A lot of different places. Let's say we have a driver, though, that we need to move around. We can do that, move them up here, save it, and it'll update that again. So you can always just click and drag drivers where you need to go. Say if they forgot a transponder or it fell off or things like that. A lot of different reasons for that. So we're going to get started with the A feature, but before we do, remember that Alt and H is the place to go to ask any questions. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to do so inside of the chat. Happy to answer any questions that you may have about anything that I'm doing here. So let's take a look at our A feature. We're going to do the point average feature. We're going to calculate it, and there we go. So it'll ask how is this calculated, and again, we're going to have our answer right here. If there is a redraw, it will do. If any drivers needed a redraw, it will pop up a window to do that for us. You also can do one here. I wouldn't recommend doing that. The lineup is built to do it for you, so it's going to know. But I'm going to show you what it would look like if the redraw screen came up. It'll look like this. We can redraw for them or automatically redraw, however we need to do that. So keep that in mind. Once we have all of our lineups done, we'll just send them again. So it's going to be a lot of the same process. Send the lineups, go into registration, import groups and runs, do the runs file, and the A feature right here. Go right into the timing to MRP Live. Get every window here. And then we're going to go again. So you see, once you get everything ready to, rocking and rolling here, it's a lot of it's pretty straightforward once you get everything going. So get that here. We can run a super short A feature if we would like, and let's just do that. 3-lap A feature, just sort of the way we're going to do it. This class just gets faster and faster every year, I swear. So we'll enter simulator here. And again, we could make changes inside of orbits if we needed to. So sometimes folks ask if they make changes in orbits or make changes inside of MyRacePass. To be honest, it is entirely up to you. There are some tracks that kind of have that workflow that they can do that pretty straightforward, pretty easily. Some, they do it inside of MyRacePass. Really, we can make any changes, but once we hit the stop button, that's it. So the stop button is our thing. So we're going to stop it, and as soon as we stop it, that's good. So I had a question about what live meant. So anytime that a track is using the timing here, they will show up as being live inside of MyRacePass. Also, they're going to be getting more notifications are going to be going out to drivers and fans who favorite your racetrack. One of those, if you're using the transponder integration, is that the track is live, that the first green flag has dropped for that night for a race. So anytime you're using that, anytime you're connected to MRP Live, that's when you show up as live. Other times we will display everything for you too. If you're not using transponders, that's totally fine. But we'll display everything. We just won't have that live next to it. It's just that transponder integration there. Another thing you might notice here that it's a little different is this best lap view keywords. So right now we've set up kind of automatic that if you're using hot laps, qualifying, time trials, hot laps combined, practice, or competitors, any one of those as a race type, it will sort it by best lap view inside of this right here. And so instead of running order, it'll switch that for you automatically. So you can, I didn't do it, but you can actually do your hot laps inside of here. So I'd recommend doing that. Have hot laps open and running inside of your transponder system. You don't have to import the results or anything, but it will still display that for folks so that you can use that. That's something drivers really love a lot, is having that ability to see their hot lap times. So they can see what's been working and what hasn't. Let's go into our results. We have our A feature 1 right here. We have imported that over. So you can see everyone here. Let's disqualify Biff Beef. I don't like him. Also, this is kind of a I am joking. Please don't disqualify people because you don't like them, no matter how you feel about them. I will say that. You might make your sanction a little upset at you. Do not do what I do. Only disqualify people for legitimate reasons. And we'll go on to our points and pay. So we're going to add our points and pay right here. Beforehand, I've gone into points pay schemes right here, and I've added in the championship points that I want to use and the different payouts I want to use. For WISSOTA, this is real straightforward. You can actually find it inside of the global/sanction, and the global national scheme is the one that you're going to be doing. You can hit that and link it, and it will be available for you. So you can link that directly here to the WISSOTA national scheme. I'm going to pick my pay here. We're going to apply it to competitors, and we'll hit add. There we go. So based on the points scheme here, it's added that in, and we also have, based on the pay scheme, the pay for everybody. So you can see that breakdown there. We'll also go down here to create payments. This is important for the end of the year reports. So even if you don't print checks or do anything with the QuickBooks export, please just click the button. You can click out of it after you're done. Let's take you back up here to the top. But if you do want to create checks, you can do that. Let's create some checks right here. We'll create checks. Right now it's going to be doing the, I call it a 2-receipt format. So 3-part, the 2-receipt, we can enter in our check number. I'll do that. So the drivers that have, the drivers and owners that we have addresses for, it'll update that right here. So you can see that Barry, we have an address for him. Those addresses come from the contact list, and an easy way to populate the contact list is to do the online registration. If you have questions about online registration, you can hit Alt and H and ask those now. Oh, yeah, I will do that. So let's disqualify. So let's say Biff Beef, he did something a little bit more harsh than then we just don't like him. So we need to actually remove his entire points for that night. So to do that, we're going to use the adjustments here to zero them out. This is something you're probably going to want to talk to your sanctioning body about and give them a reason. So because they will see this. But once you do that and zero it out completely, he's not receiving any points now. So all of his points are gone. You can see that we had to do the 45 because he got 0 here for, because of the way that the point scheme works, be doing that there. This is the points page for points and pay. So you zero them out there. Oh, and we also have to zero out, oh, I did Hank Ham. That's my mistake. There, so you, oh. So if he's disqualified after the fact too, you can also recalculate him here, up at the top. So you do need to do that as well. So you'd have to disqualify him everywhere. So let's do that. Let's disqualify him completely. Biff Beef. So even though I've already calculated points, every time you calculate points or if something changed, so let's say we calculated all of our points and he was disqualified, and I disqualified him from the heats, he still has those points. And think of points calculation, the way that I think of it is like taking a Polaroid. So it just takes a snapshot of what that place looked like when you hit the button to take the picture, right? So if something changed, so in this case, if Biff Beef was completely disqualified,
You do that here, recalculate it. I'm going to clear the adjustments because I just made some adjustments there. We can make him ineligible for points and hit a calculate there. And now, even though he gets absolutely 0 points now and has been completely taken out here. We also have, because of the way that we set up our pay schemes, he isn't getting any pay either. So again, this button here, if you click it, makes him ineligible for points. And remember, if something happens where a driver is disqualified after the fact, so let's say this will apply a couple other places too, but let's say he, showed up way light on the scales, and we just need to disqualify him. And even though we've already applied the points there, you disqualify him, but you still need to recalculate it because he will still have those points because, again, it's a snapshot. So think of it like taking a picture. You just need to take a new picture here by hitting the recalculate button. You have that here. And remember to hit this recalculate button. Don't hit this add an additional points pay group. So the additional points pay group is handy for a few other things, but not handy for recalculating points. That'll actually duplicate points sometimes. So yeah, I'm gonna see. We did that. We did printing checks. So we have that. Again, if you do need to have the address information in there, you can add it in. That's going to come from online registration is the easiest way to do it, fastest for you, for everybody involved. So that goes quite a bit quicker. I'm going to open it up for the next few minutes. I have about 15 minutes here before we do have to get ready for the next call, or the next call, geez, the next webinar. If you feel, so feel free to ask those. Alt and H is the place to do that. Just to give a quick run through of what we're going to be doing here. So at 6:45, that's in about a half an hour, we're going to be doing another one of these IMCA focused this time. And I think I'll switch it up and do Westhold on that. Saturday, we're going to be doing some shows there too. One at 3:15, the other at 5:30. Then we're going to be finishing out next week. We have two, Tuesday at 5:30 and 6:45, and then Thursday at 5:30 and 6:45. Yeah. I had a question if you can go back after race night to add your results. If so, how? So yeah, if you need to add them after the fact, you can. There's going to be some caveats to that though. If the event is more than 30 days old, it's going to lock the event. So what locking does is it makes it so that you have to request access. We do that to keep the integrity of the data. If it is a WISSOTA show or a USRA show, something using the sanctions, USRA, WISSOTA lock the event. So they lock it to keep their point standings current and consistent. So if it's a sanctioned event and it's locked, you'll probably need to speak to the person in charge of your sanctioning body to do that. If it's locked and it's not sanctioned, you'll click down at the bottom. It'll say that the event is locked and you can request access. Click that, request access. If you're requesting a whole bunch of events to be unlocked, you might have to put in an explanation. If it's just one, please put in an explanation too. I actually go through those and try to use those to make the locking system better for everybody so that it's flexible, keeps track of everything. Otherwise, to go back and add in events or results to the event, you would just, if you have all the events from the lineups in here, you just click the drivers where they finished. So it looks something like this. So you'd have your drivers and you can either click them or you can enter them in this way after the fact. If you're using Westhold transponders, is it different from using orbits? Kind of, but not really. The biggest difference is that the Westhold system has a bit different assignments path. So the assignments path for Westhold is going to be inside of Westhold, inside of your computer. And also it has a specific place for it inside of it. So let's open this up and I'll show you. It's a little different is what I'd say. So let me open this up. So when you send the lineups here, those go to the assign folder right here. So when we hit send lineups, it sends to assign. And then from there, you run the race as normal. So it's a little different, but not completely different than using orbits. But that's great questions. Again, this is your time to ask away. Any questions, anything that I've gone over, anything that you'd like me to answer? One sec here. Okay. But yeah, Alt and H, the spot to do it. Feel free to ask those questions. We have a lot of really great questions here. So happy to answer them for you. Something else I didn't mention too is that you can also do, if this was a sanctioned event, you could do temp licenses from there as well. That's going to send to WISSOTA. Also, the points are going to send to WISSOTA or your sanctioning body, so USRA or WISSOTA, if it is a sanctioned event in the system. So that's really neat. You don't have to mess around with anything there. It's just going to send to it automatically. Also, make sure you're using the correct classes. So for WISSOTA, all of the correct classes should be in there for you. We're very, very close to getting all those done. We did copy, we are, I think, copying over quite a few of the drivers, working on that still. So by the time you start racing, that should be there. Make sure that you have your schedules in as well. I went through and checked on a lot of WISSOTA tracks, yet still don't have their schedule in. Be sure to do that. More that you have that in, well, the sooner that you have that in, the better. So make sure you do that. So if you want to switch up your running order, you can do that wherever you just switch up right here. So you can switch up the different classes there. When you calculate lineups, there are numerous options to choose from. Is there any way that explains the calculation used for each option? Not yet, but there will be. I am working on getting that added into the knowledge base. So this is a great time to do that, to mention this. So inside our knowledge base, we have more information about everything that we're doing here. So we have that most of the time too, with our lineups, different lineup options. It tries to explain all the different options. If you have a question though about a specific lineup that you would need, just let us know, and we can try to get you to the correct one. How soon do the drivers need to claim their profile / register as a favorite to our track? As sooner the better. There's no direct time limit. I guess they can do that whenever they would like. So driver can claim their profile whenever. Once they claim their profile, they sign in with that same email. It will generate the barcode for them to be scanned. And then to sign up as a favorite, and drivers aren't the only people that can do that. Your fans can do that as well. So I would let your announcer know to do that. And basically, whenever they do that, they'll get those notifications. We're working on quite a few different ways to notify your fans about these things. So news articles in the app, when news articles are posted, that will do something. So that'll notify a lot of different things there. If a driver runs in multiple classes, you will switch in between the class. So in this case, Biff Beef is a great example. You'll just check him in twice. If you're using the barcode scanner, you'll just scan him in. In this case, we'll scan him in on 410 wing sprints, and we'll scan him in on MRP late models. So we'll scan him in once. We'll make sure everything's good. We'll switch over to the late models. We'll scan him in. We'll check him in. And then once he's checked into both and his information's good, he's on his way. So as a matter of fact, all of my drivers are, yeah, lots. All of my drivers are real troopers, and they race every single class that I have. Yep, that's also true. WISSOTA drivers get MRP Insider to keep track of their points and races. Yep. Top 30s, things like that. Insider is a really cool tool to help keep track of sanction points inside of the app. So very nice thing to have as well. A lot of great questions here. I'm going to get a quick drink, but Alt and H is the spot to ask any questions that you may have. So when it transfers to orbits, I don't believe it keeps the order, but I don't believe that should really matter since you're going to be lining them up and it'll pick up that way. But yeah, the question was that when you set a race lineup, it didn't transfer to orbits in exactly that order. I don't believe it does. There's some things involved with that. But again, they're going to go across the line in that order, and it's going to pick up in the order there. Other things I didn't mention, we do have a lot of reports here. So you have your lineups, lineup sheet, chalkboard lineups, pay lineups. Wow. Long day. Pay reports. Word I'm looking for here. So this is the points by race report, and it's going to show where they got their pay. This one's pretty neat because you can actually, so let's say I just want the position. I don't care about the points. We can just have that there. Then you can have them sign off on that. Again, no, Alt and H the spot to do it. I think for now, we're going to, if you would open up your chat window and type in your name and what organization you're with, I'll take attendance. This will help me report that to your sanction, or also keep you in the running for the drawing that will be happening very soon. Very soon. Fun fact, this was the halfway point, so we are over halfway on the webinars. So this was the halfway one. Pretty neat, huh? So yeah, if you have any questions, you might want to wait just a little bit to let everyone kind of say their name there so we get everybody in. But I'll still answer any questions that you have. Also, this this specific video will be on YouTube tomorrow. So generally tomorrow before noon is when I add everything in. So you have the help videos right here. Inside of YouTube, that'll take you to the playlists, and you can find the 2020 webinars right here. Also on the page that you used to get in, we do have the webinars linked as well. So if you want to relive some of that, relive the meeting, or if you want to go over some notes, feel free. Happy to do it inside of YouTube. You can watch that. Also, feel free to join in on the webinar that's going to be happening in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to leave it open for the next few minutes. If anybody has any questions, feel free to do so. Alt and H, the spot to do it. But yeah, we're going to be going over everything here in about 15 minutes. So, so yeah, I'll leave it open here for the next few. if anyone has any questions. So feel free. Also, know that you can also edit contact information here. So this is another spot you can add that. So if a driver comes up to you and says, "Oh, hey, I actually moved to a new address inside of my city," you can do that there. So that is a spot to do that. Um, to add in that contact information for the check there. Same for owner information for a check if you need to do that kind of on the fly. But yeah, Alt and H spot to do it. Hope to see you here the next webinar. Like I said, the next one after the one in 15 minutes will be on Saturday. That'll be the first Saturday webinars. And it's going to be a bit of a different time too. So 3:15 and 5:30. So make sure that you keep that on the calendar there. Then we'll end the week. So we'll end the whole shows on. We have that this next week. So on the 10th and the 12th. 5:30 and 6:45 on both those days. So feel free to show up to those. Not too many more left. So, all right. Well, it's been great speaking with you all. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. If you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out to support@myracepass.com. Happy to answer any questions for you there. It's been great speaking with you. Have a great night. And if you show up to the next one, I hope to see you there. Have a good one.